Welcome to HipHop and Theology, a space of theological and decolonizing thoughts that attempts to increase humanity through the theopoetics of hip-hop and theology. I'm excited to get into today's dialogue. Let's get into it. Gentlemen, thank you for coming. Welcome to HipHop and Theology. I love it. A space where I like to say we journey together in theological and decolonizing thought through the art of hip-hop. We got returning guest, J.P. Reynolds, who holds an M.Div from Yale University, has been named remarkably special. You have a very long bio, so I'll make it short. Remarkably special as an artist and creative consultant. As an abolitionist, JP has a background in ministry, education, and, as a rapper, poet, songwriter, and performer. We also have Kid Lacey, paying that MC, songwriter, producer, who's had a love for music since he was able to sing in his church choir, and he specifically started getting into hip hop. I love this after hearing Gold Digger. I love that. Love that. I want to start with a quote, and then we'll get into the song. It's a quote from MLK, and it says, "Oppressed people cannot remain oppressed forever. The yearning for freedom eventually manifests itself." And I think it's a quote that really speaks to Biggie's Juicy and to what all bodies who are oppressed really move from, towards a space of finding and being in their wholeness as a self. So I want to start there. Now, I'm going to talk about, for myself, Juicy is one of my favorite songs of all time, all genres, all languages that I understand. It's at the top of the list for me. It's definitely at the top. And for me, and we'll get into the lyrics. It's really biblical, right? For me, it's biblical because, and I'm talking from a Christian's perspective, it's a song it's a rags to riches story. It's a song almost of redemption, It's gripping, it's powerful. You see the ride in the lyrics that Biggie presents, because just his narrative, his flow, I can see it. I literally see the movements in front of my eyes and in my brain as I hear it. So for me, this is number one. Well, I don't want to say number one. This is definitely at the top of the list of all the songs that I love. And I'd be remiss if I didn't consider it for its theological aspects. I think we can jump right in. Do we need to hear the song before we go on?
Yeah, this album is dedicated to all the teachers that told me I never amount to nothing. To all the people that lived above the buildings that I was hustling from, that called the police on me when I was just trying to make some money to feed my daughter. Yeah. And to all my peoples in the struggle, you know what I'm saying? It's all good, baby. Check it. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine, hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday, rap attack Mr. Magic Marley Marl. I let my tape rock till my tape pop. Smoking weed and bamboo, sipping on private stock. Way back when I had the red and black lumberjack with the hat to match. Remember rapping Duke? The hard. You never thought that hip hop would take it this far. Now I'm in the limelight cause I rhyme tight. Time to get paid, blow up like the world trade. Born sinner, the opposite of a winner. Remember when I used to eat sardines for dinner? Peace to Ron G, Brucey B, Kid Capri, Funk Master Flex, Love Bug, Star Ski. I'm blowing up like you thought I would. Call a crib, same number, same hood. It's all good. And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know.
You know very well who you are. Money, don't let them hold you down. Reach for the stars. You have to know. 'Cause you're the only one.
I made the change from a common thief to up close and personal with Robin Leach. And I'm far from cheap, I smoke skunk with my peeps all day. Spread love, it's the Brooklyn way. The Moet and Alizé keep me pissy. Girls used to diss me, now they write letters cause they miss me. I never thought it could happen, this rapping stuff. I was too used to packing ice and stuff. Now honeys play me close like butter play toast. From the Mississippi down to the East Coast. Condos in Queens, in dough for weeks. Sold out seats to hear Biggie Small speak. Living life without fear, putting 5 carats in my baby girl ear. Lunches, brunches, interviews by the pool. Considered a fool cause I dropped out of high school. Stereotypes of a black male misunderstood. And it's still all good, And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know.
You know very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down. Reach for the stars.
Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis. When I was dead broke, man, I couldn't picture this. 50-inch screen, money green leather sofa. Got 2 rides, a limousine with the chauffeur. Phone bill about 2 G's flat. No need to worry, my accountant handles that. And my whole crew is lounging, celebrating every day, no more public housing. Thinking back on my one-room shack, now my mom pimps an act with minks on her back. And she loves to show me off, of course. Smiles every time my face is up in the sauce. We used to fuss when the landlord dissed us. No heat, wonder why Christmas missed us. Birthdays was the worst days. Now we sip champagne when we thirsty. Damn right I like the life I live. Cause I went from negative to positive and it's all And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know.
You know very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down.
And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know.
Cause you're the only one.
And if you don't know, now you know, you know, you know. Let me beat down in the house. Junior Mafia, Mad Flavor.
I see you, I see you,
Yeah. Alright.
Junior Mafia.
Hey, yeah. You know very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down. Reach for the stars. You have to. Cause you're the only one.
Money earning, my burning. South Central, Detroit, Side. It's all good.
I want to start off at the beginning of the song. I think like right before he starts rapping with the intro, it's something that really hits me. He's like, the album's dedicated basically to all the teachers and all the people who told me I never amount to nothing. And as a black man in America, as much as I've had people uphold me, I've had plenty of people tell me I'd never amount to nothing, right? Like, whether it's in school, if I had any issues learning or whatever, like, I've been, been called stupid, been called dumb, been called lazy because I didn't understand. Like, all these things that, especially if you grew up in the 80s and 90s, I don't know, like, it's a different generation now. They still get the same thing in different ways. But it's definitely something that I went through. And I love the fact that that's how he starts. He starts the song.
So I guess I have a question then for you would be where you are now in your rags to riches, kind of parallel. if you saw, said person who these people who called you these things and did all these things, how do you think that you would approach it? And this is kind of like a two-parter, or not a two-parter, but it's like I have a feeling of like what you may answer it with, because then I have something to say about how Biggie goes about it too, I think. Like, would you approach it with grace,
I mean, I hope so. That's the real answer.
Okay. That's perfect. No, that's perfect, because I think that it's wild that you speak about, it's not wild. I mean, I love that you speak about how the song is, in a sense, biblical. And I feel like thinking about just the aspect of, I mean, now he's Biggie, and Biggie can get raunchy and say some of the craziest things. Because even technically, he does start it off with like, fuck all you hoes, get a grip, motherfucker.
Yeah. That is correct. That's exactly how he starts the
song. But it's cool how I think how it's kind of mixed. It's kind of like pushed. It sounds like he was saying it in a different kind of like context. So it's not kind of like he's coming into this track with animosity. So I think it's funny that I think it's just the aspect of grace. He, he's dedicating the album to the haters, as well as the lovers and the supporters and whatnot. Whereas the people that I'll listen to now, when they'll speak about the people that said they weren't, they wouldn't be nothing, the only thing they say now is, oh, I'm rich now, or I got money, or like blah, blah, blah. Like it's some type of like disrespectful manner. And I just like speaking about that, just since we're like ruminating on the intro, like I think it's just really interesting that it's dedicated. It's not like, this album's in spite of y'all, or this album's blah, blah, blah. It's like, this all kind of made me. Yeah.
I'm going to offer a little pushback.
I was going to say.
He starts off by saying, come on, fuck all you hoes, get a grip, motherfucker.
Right.
Like, there's nothing graceful about that.
I was going to say, he's kind of giving them the smoke. He's saying that facetiously. He's like, this album is dedicated to all of y'all.
I think the dedication part is to, okay, when he says, fuck all you hoes, get a grip, motherfucker, he's putting it out there, right?
Right.
But then I think the dedication is where the specificity comes in.
Right.
Because you can take it as him just being euphemistic when he first comes in. However, when he says the dedication, now you know who he's directing that animosity towards. So I think there is some kind of rancor in his tone and in his voice, because initially, if as a hip hop artist, if you just say something like that, you don't know who you're directing it towards. It could just be just from musical perspective, right? That's However, once he says the dedication part, now you know where he's going with the tone and who he's directed toward. So I don't know if there's grace there. There's because I lived the same experience Joe lived. I've been called everything. I came in not speaking English. And a lot of the ones who I see now who used to make fun of me back then, some of them ask me for $1 when they see me. And I'm just like, like, I don't even respond. I just give them the get a grip motherfucker look. You know what I mean? Like, I'm still that African kid that you used to make fun of.
The thing I would add is, like, I think in that dedication part, he's absolutely being petty. I think he's absolutely being wild petty. Yeah. But I will say, Matt, the grace thing is interesting because maybe we have to look at it again, but I don't think he mentions haters for the rest of the song, right? Like, it's kind of like you only get half a bar, right? Like, you get this half a bar, this intro.
He mentions the landlord. He speaks. You gotta really, really go into it. Okay, like there's a part where it says, where the landlord dissed us. Yeah. No,
Christmas was
so although he's not calling them by name, he's putting up the instances where it used to be this way, now it's this way.
But I guess what I'm saying though is that the center of that, or the orientation of that, of those mentionings are him, right? It's like his story. It's not like he's not dissing. He's not necessarily dissing the landlord. He's just saying what happened.
It's an acknowledgement. To me, there's a difference in like telling the story as it is, and then like, straightforward going at somebody and just kind of dissing them. Like it's like
that's why I see the shift of the what you're talking about is interesting, right? Like throughout the whole record, all 3 verses, which is classic. I think this may be the first song I learned the lyrics to, like for real, like
Same.
every single lyric.
Same.
But it's interesting because I'm like, I don't like the whole joint. I think he brings people up or he mentions things, but it's all from his perspective. He's centered. It doesn't feel as petty. It doesn't feel as petty as the intro. The intro was like, it's dedicated to all y'all. You know what I'm saying? He's orienting the dedication around all of y'all. But then the rest of the song, it's about me and my perspective of what I went through, which is interesting. I don't know if that's grace.
Maybe not grace, maybe more so great. I don't even know if it's gratefulness, but just acknowledgement of how which ways they played into his story, and then now telling his story, you know, without even saying names, you know.
Well, this is what I would say when Joel, you talk about how it's biblical, right? Like one of the things I learned very importantly about biblical scripture is that in a lot of ways it is descriptive, not prescriptive, right? Mm. So what we get from Biggie's song is description. We get the descriptive text. We get him describing what is happening. It's not necessarily, that's why I'm like, it's interesting to try to delineate between when he's like talking about somebody else or calling somebody else out, or he's just describing what happened, right? Like I don't know if I've done a close enough read and with this particular lens to give it that attention, but that's interesting to me when you call it biblical, because like I've never listened to this song theologically, if I'm honest. I don't know that I would give it, even now, I'm like, I don't know if I would give it the pass of being theological. I think we can put a theological framework on it. Mm-hmm. And there's plenty of moments that are more, maybe more theological on the surface level, right? Like born sinner, opposite of a winner. Remember when they used to, like, I mean, there's stuff that's like more apparent, but there's also some subtextual things I would love to hear from y'all that like, all right, that make it theological.
We're gonna get into this. Yeah. First of all, it is descriptive, right? For me, it's like an autobiography. He starts with his childhood in Bed-Stuy, and not what we know now, but like the Bed-Stuy that, you know, like Bethany Baptist Church that they used to run Operation Breadbasket because there was no food going around, right? The Bed-Stuy where I hear about in the 70s, like if people's cars started breaking down at Bed-Stuy, you just keep driving. Like that's the Bed-Stuy he's talking about, right? Not like I lived in Bed-Stuy, maybe 10, 13 years ago, and I had a studio apartment where I needed a Murphy bed, and my apartment was $2,000. That's not the Bed-Stuy we talk about. Right? He talks about his childhood. He talks about his time hustling. He talks about, you know, his dreams of being a rapper, and he actually started rapping while he was in jail, right? Like not rapping, but he started writing his stuff down, right? He talks about his influences because he mentioned them and thanking them in there. So this is very descriptive about him. So I agree. Top, we got some petty fuck y'all, and then I'm going to tell you my story. And I love it. We start with, I gotta show you my t-shirt. I gotta go down. I'm gonna do the whole rest of the one just like this. We start with, it was all a dream, right? It was all a dream. I used to read Word of magazine.
Can I throw a wrench in here?
Uh-oh. Go ahead. I love wrenches.
Look at Biggie as Moses and draw a parallel from that. Because he was once living in exile, but no longer. He once didn't have anything. All he could do was dream about being free. All he could do was dream about having whatever it is he wanted. All he could do was dream about having his people come with him and living the life that they were supposed to live, or at least in their head. At least they were born thinking that they're supposed to be free and doing what they wanted. So you have those who already have, you know, whether it be empire or the music industry or anyone else who wanted to keep that oppressive thumb on them. This is his get a grip kind of connotation, in my opinion. So you can look at it theologically. You just have to find the right parallel to say, okay, well, what oppression did he come up from underneath and how was he successful? How did he get there? And what manifested afterwards? You talk about his mom living the life afterwards. So this is going from having nothing to the land of milk and honey, so to speak. It doesn't directly, 100% translate, but I can draw an effective parallel with those two scenarios.
You were talking about Moses. When going through this, Abraham jumped to mind because I started really thinking about like Christian, Jewish, Muslim traditions and Abraham, the father of those traditions. And you start from we're going to get non-believing, like Abraham's just chosen. Like, I don't even know you, God, and you chose me. I'm going to follow along this path. So I'm putting faith, I'm doing the action, and then Abraham's kind of fucked up. I'm sorry to say it like that. Abraham pimping out his wife more than once. Like, Abraham got some issues, like all of us. But then he follows the path and is faithful to his call or his art, his craft, whatever you want to say. Because I'm thinking like about Biggie in this sense, and then see the results. So I wouldn't even there's so many people in the biblical narrative that you could pull up. I think a lot of the prophets you can go to and draw parallels. I see a lot of thinking going on.
I think one thing that is hard for me to get over, and not even hard for me to get over, just wrestling, because this is like I said, this is a different way for me to think about this song. The song is so material. And I think that is, and it's also so internal. For me, this is hard to call it prophetic because it doesn't necessarily speak to anyone else's reality. At least I never heard it that way, right? Like, unless it's just he's describing his thing, it's celebratory. Oh, I can do this too, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know to me that is prophetic. The Moses angle is interesting. I'm still wrapping my head around it because to me this is a matter of like rags to riches. Yes. I think redemption is the thing for me that ties it to a theological framework, right? Like it was once this way, now it is this way, and we are celebrating, right? Like this is, again, I don't know if I could call it grace. It's definitely celebratory. It's definitely joy. And it's definitely like how I got over, right? Like it's one of those. I'm still wrapping my head around the prophetic nature of it. I don't know that to me, it doesn't give me that spirit, if I'm honest. If I'm just being completely honest, right? Like it doesn't give me a prophetic spirit unless you're just telling about the fact that he is forthtelling what happened to him. But again, to me, I like the angle of calling it biblical because it is descriptive of a thing. It is descriptive of a person's life and journey. And to me, that is sacred. But yeah, I'm wrapping my head around some of the other offerings here.
Yeah, same here, honestly. I mean, I guess in that sense, like the way that I see it is you could see it like biblical, like as Jay said, through a lot of different, like through the lenses. Like for me, was not my upbringing. There is no parallel for me and Big, you feel me? Now I'm in Brooklyn, so like, maybe like retrospectively, but like, no, like, but I understand that at least for what this, outside of the materials and the content of this song, and outside of even like the specific then subject matter, like what the song did for then people could be seen as like a biblical kind of offering in a sense, if you want to use the word prophetic or whatnot. I feel like outside of like the materials and whatnot, a lot like the song is a classic, and I feel like we throw this word around, and a classic, I feel like it could be simply defined as a classic as a song that you listen to a lot of times and everybody feels it, but there's something deeper than that, and so I could definitely see how there's a lot of larger ways into how this can be seen as biblical. But yeah, I mean, the way that I've come, at least in the past, then 20 minutes to see this as a biblical offering, that I guess then to use that word, is I see this as a testimony. I mean, from like, just from my perspective, like it, because this is something that allows me to then gain some more understanding of somebody else's situation, you know, and if I get something from that, you know, if I get my mustard seed from that and whatnot, you know, so be it. But, you know, I do see it as, you know, this is his story, you know.
JP, let me offer you something in terms of seeing the prophetic in it, right? If you look at the chorus, just read the chorus.
I was just about to talk about the chorus.
You know very well who you are. Don't let them hold you down, reach for the stars. That to me, it speaks of not just knowing or the fact that you should know who you are and what you're destined to be or the reason that you're here. But it speaks to where I come from. It speaks to my ancestors speaking into me. It speaks to my aunt who used to watch me, talking to me, telling me all the time. And, you know, you have it here when they say, oh, you are somebody. But we have this thing where we say, Imalo Nyombo, that means, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? And it's not a question, it's just a chant. And it's something that you say when you're going through hard times. When I'm having difficulty in class, I say that to myself. Like I literally talk to myself in Pidgin, you know, like it's a sub-dialect of Igbo, right? And I talk to myself in my native tongue because that speaks to my core. So if I didn't know who I was before this exam, I know who I am taking this exam because I didn't get here by myself. Mm-hmm. So when I read that, that's one thing that comes to me in terms of the prophetic. But the other thing also is Biggie says over and over, and if you don't know, now you know. You know, that's also reiterating. So if you didn't know about me from before, as a little poor kid who didn't have, now you're going to know. And it speaks to, again, that prophecy that he knew to himself, whenever it happened, however it happened, that he wasn't destined to stay in the position, you know, he was born into or that he currently was. You know, so I say that because these things keep coming back. It's the chorus, it's the hook, it keeps coming back. It's a reminder. Prophecy always comes back. Prophecy never leaves, but prophecy always comes back. You try to put it out of your mind, but what happens? Something will jog your memory and take you right back to that. If you want to run from what you were destined to do, what will happen? Something will cause you to go right back to that spot again. And it'll keep reminding you. So you're going to constantly ask yourself, do you know who you are? Do you know who you are? So I see it because it resonates with me, aside from what Joel said earlier, and I didn't live a true rap. Well, I did live a because I literally came here with one set of clothes. I came to this country with the clothes on my back.
Yeah.
You know, so I wore the same clothes to school every day and was picked on, was made fun of. And I'm the person I am today because of having gone through that. Yeah. So the material part, I understand because right now in my closet, I got it all. Uh-huh. But it's not because I'm a fashion plate. It's because, you know what? That satisfies something in me I didn't have before. But I no longer shop like that because I realize it's not about the material things anymore. It's about me knowing who I am first and then putting the clothes on after, as opposed to me putting on the clothes first and trying to figure out who I am after.
I like the connection with the end of his verses, if you don't know, now you know, which is a chant in and of itself. Because it's one of those like knowing phrases. It's like, we just get it. You don't know, now you get it, right? And it definitely connects to the chorus, which is an interesting flip from the original song, which I wanted to bring up, right? Because that's another, when you talk about ancestry, and we talked about exegeting music earlier, right? Like they're flipping a song from an earlier era. And to me, that's really important when we talk about the prophetic nature of this and the breadcrumbs and, you know, when we talk about prophecy in the biblical text, it's often, especially when we get to like Jesus, he's often repeating things that were said before, right? And that's how we fulfillment of prophecy. So we're actually seeing that kind of take place musically. That's hip hop generally with sampling, with like reiterating former melodies or bass lines or vibes, right? Which I think is a powerful part of hip hop. And yeah, that's a good connection because I admittedly, I wasn't thinking about the hook all that much in this song because I always be focused on the Biggie verses. I'm like, but no, that's a good connection. If you don't know, now you know.
And I agree about the hook. Never made me. I didn't think about the hook in that sense, like to kind of examine it, and then I never thought about the aspect that it's something that's being flipped. Then as soon as you had brought up the hook, I immediately go to Wikipedia because I went to school for music, and so I'm big on liner notes and personnel. So I'm like, all right, so who redid this verse then? The only writer that's listed is Christopher Wallace. So my only thoughts is that is him and Diddy that then, we're like, all right, we're gonna change these last two lines. We're gonna keep the very well who you are. And that concept is just like blows my mind too, because somebody had brought up the Born Sinner, the opposite of a winner, and something that could be a whole another episode in and of itself is a different album much years later by J. Cole under that title, Born Sinner, and in the same sense where he's I forget what song he sampled, but he sampled sampled a few of Biggie's lines in this for what he vocally did, but then also just for what he wrote. He interpolated a lot of just what Big said. And that aspect of sampling I love. So I just had to speak on that it he picked it up and decided to move it forward, and somebody was able to pick it up and then do the same thing. I think that's nuts.
I just want to add on the hook itself, the chorus. It made me, I can't remember which sermon, but it's the sermon I preached on, I believe it's the Gospel of Mary. Either Gospel Mary or Gospel of Thomas. I was trying to find it, I couldn't. But one of the things that it talks about, and it's the sayings of Jesus, probably Gospel of Thomas then. What Jesus is basically telling us is we need to step into our full humanity. I've heard about heaven, right? How heaven's going to be, or what happens after death. It's always a pace of peace and calmness and serenity and things like that. I'm talking about from growing up. That's what I heard. My grandfather is a bishop, my grandmother, my uncle as a pastor, all these people. And the prescription that Jesus gives us is not dissimilar to what Biggie's saying, at least the way I'm taking you know very well who you are. And then if you don't know, figure it out. And then that's how you're going to get to where you want to be. So that's what popped into my head while you were talking. Go and continue.
To add on, that was awesome, by the way. To add on to what Gogo said right quick, you really struck a chord in me when talking about this concept that I guess we sum up as resilience. And so this concept of resilience, combined with the power of faith in one's ability, it sort of forms a psycho-spiritual message, right? That speaks to the importance of perseverance and the potential for redemption, possibly. To go back to what Matt was saying earlier, we agree with your perspective in terms of grace, but I guess it was more like gratitude, right? This sense of gratitude that's being articulated throughout the song so poetically, right? This attitude of gratitude that aligns with theological teachings that also emphasize the importance of being grateful, for the blessing in life or blessings in life. It serves as a reminder to appreciate the present moment, recognizing that success is not solely attributed to individual effort, but also the support and love of others. And of course, theologically for us, we just wanted to add to this space, the pursuit of dreams comes up in this song, and the scripture for me that pops up, and doesn't take away from what you guys brought up, which was awesome too. We just never thought about it like that. But it really was Jacob's dream for us, and the stairway of heaven. He was laying on a stone. It got anointed, and that's Bethlehem, right? But it's important because going back to Gogo's example of Moses in Exodus, Jacob was in exile. He was running from his brother who was going to kill him. So like in the escaping of that, in the exile of that, going on his way to see his cousins, Jacob has a theophany, right? This experience with God, the divine, but through a dream. And of course, theopoetically, we're not meant to take this literal, but when we're talking about dreams, the theological, representation there of God communicating with us in dreams, I mean, that's deeply theological. Most importantly, this idea that Jacob was wrestling with God and also wrestling with himself in terms of identity, and towards the later end of the story, or deeper into the dream, Jacob's like trying to identify this God, right? Are you the God of my forefathers? Or, all the way going back to Abraham, like, are you the God of Abraham? Are you still with me, kind of thing? And with that, Jacob had to start creating his own theological identity. And this is very important because before he got to his cousins, this needed to take place. If not, he would just still be doing stupid shit like listening to his mother and getting him into situations like this. When we all know he listened to his mother because he had no identity, right? And so it's important, this whole transformation or journey of self-identity and self-transformation, which is the underlying foundation of this song or this expression. Like, even by saying, fuck all you hoes, like, it's like, yo, I've been on a journey. I've been somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, y'all can't tell me shit at this point because, again, I know who I am. I'm not X, Y, and Z. And then, he brings that up through the song so poetically, like it does come off maybe as like shade or whatever. But when you think about it, he's bringing them up in a way that's still in a form of gratitude. Because even though he's experienced all these trials and tribulations from the hood of being in Brooklyn, at that time, he's made it to where now he's having like expensive ass trips, food, everything is at his fingertips, right? He was on top of the world, so to speak.
I think everything we said have kind of come full circle, right? We started with the descriptiveness of Biggie's words. We went through a lot, but I think maybe what do you think? I think this song is, as I said, I think it's autobiography, right? A little bit, but I think he is telling us of the way he moved into his whole self, like finding consciousness. Right? The way you talked about Jacob, right? He became conscious and found something new, right? Found a new relationship, not even with his ancestors' gods, but with his own God, right? He formed a new relationship. What do you think about that, what I just said? Like, this song is a way of Biggie sharing his movement to full consciousness.
I think I could call it a crash course into that. Kind of like a lot of A-B comparisons. Like in terms of just looking at the structure of the song for the verses, this is how it was, this is what it's like now. This is how it was, this is what it's like now. Hook, bringing it back to a common theme. Now let's go back to a verse. This is how it was, this is what it is like now, this is how it was. And so I could see, I could see that in the sense of, okay, if we go from the start to the end, I would say that to an extent, all the other songs on Ready to Die handle specific episodes in between that beginning and that end, where it could really be maybe more seen that this was where he got the consciousness, or this was where the dream happened, above. So like, I definitely can see it. And it just, like what Aaron had said, made me go crazy thinking about how then he starts the verse saying it was all a dream. I could see it as being the headlines like to this story of his rags to riches, his finding his consciousness. I think there's a lot of subtext that's, just in other songs, But I'd agree generally.
My hesitation with the consciousness thing. Let me just start by saying this. I think it feels like arrival for sure. The song feels like arrival. The way that I listen to music, or when I listen, especially being an artist, and this is really any art or anything that's created. I look at that from three different perspectives. There's the artist, there's the created art, and then there are the people who engage with the art. So there's an artist's intention, then there's a thing that gets created, and then there's how we read it, right? So in this moment, I am curious as to what Biggie was trying to do. I don't know that Biggie was like thinking this. I just don't know, right? I don't know. I can't say one way or the other what Biggie's intention was. Then we have the thing that it created, classic, it resonated. Mad people, if you put this, I feel like a lot of people at a certain age, if you put this song on, everybody can rap all the lyrics. We know all the flows, we know all the pockets, we know all the twists and turns of the phrase, we know all three verses, right? Classic. I think in this moment, I'm just curious. I think I'm curious. I'll put it that way. This song, I don't know if it's like, I don't know if Biggie would call it like his consciousness. I don't know that Biggie would say that. I feel like Biggie may call it, oh, we made it. Nigga, we made it, right? That's it. I'm describing how we made it, period. That's it. Nigga was ashy to classy, right? So I feel hesitant to put something on it that I don't necessarily feel from Big. I feel arrival. I feel celebration. I feel a recognition that they're in a different place. And gratitude, like Aaron was saying, like the gratitude is deep. I thought that was a really, really powerful point, because that's this, when Matt was talking about grace and Gogo was talking about the initial kind of pettiness, I think what I was referring to was the gratitude, right? Because the rest of the song feels like actual gratitude. Like that first intro felt like, oh, maybe he's being petty, maybe he's being shady. But then the rest of the song, it feels like he's actually grateful. He's grateful, like he's actually grateful. That's how it feels. So I feel all of that. I don't know, like, or maybe it's a matter of like, is arrival equal to consciousness, right? Like, what is the thing that Biggie is conscious of in this moment, in this particular song, in this particular record? That's the question for me. I'm just like, that's a heavy word to throw on it, because again, there's a lot there. There's a lot of subtext there. There's a lot of like that Gogo was mentioning. There's a lot of repetition of phrases. Even the phrase like "it's all good," that comes up multiple times, right? Like it's all good, baby, baby, and then the hook, it's all good. It just, that's a thing that repeats itself. So I think I'm slow to call it a recognition of consciousness. I don't know why, but I feel a hesitation in my spirit. I can't. I don't. That doesn't. I don't roll on that part. I don't know why.
You know something though, JP? Just by saying it's all good, you are allowed as the listener, as the interpreter, because given the three ways that you listen to music, you are the consumer. You are allowed to interpret it however way you want. It's all good. That's exactly, sure. And I'm pretty sure that also has a lot to do with where Biggie was psychologically at the time, where he doesn't particularly care what's going on. It's all good. However way you feel. And why is it all good? Because like to Kid Lacey's point, I was once here, now I'm here. It's all good. Right. You were once where you were, you're here now. It's all good. So you have the agency to say, you know something? Maybe Biggie did have some theological, points in there. Maybe he didn't. Maybe he was being petty. Maybe it was grace. Maybe he was being an asshole. Maybe he wasn't. Right. No matter what your interpretation is, it's all good.
And that's the brilliance of the way he put it together too, though, right? Like he left that openness.
He left us all hanging.
Also, because like let's put it this way too, right? Like even in a hook, there's this interesting juxtaposition, and I'll admit this, right? Like I kind of got caught up in the ad-libs of the hook, right? Like I didn't even really catch the flip of, because in the original song with M2 Juicy, original Juicy, they say, you know what you are, right? Mm-hmm. In this joint, they say, you know who you are. That's a very important difference. It's a very important difference. But then after he says, you know who you are, Puffy's in the background going money, clothes, and hoes, right? Like, it's like the juxtaposition of the deep conscious with the ratchetry is like so palpable that sometimes like it's easy to miss. It's easy to miss it. So like I always like money, clothes, and hoes. Like
but isn't there always one? Isn't there always that one? You trying to do the right thing. You over here, with your holy self, and your mans and them is over there like, yo, let's go get this money. Yeah. We got money, hoes, and clothes over here.
That's what I'm saying. That's the thing that's so crazy about the record. That's like, it's
life.
And that's so crazy to think about, like that juxtaposition and how like the complications within like whether it was like, was this parallel or this dichotomy intentionalized, or was this was it the reality of the studio? So was Biggie just like what like or was like was Puff wanting to go in there because he's Puff and it's 94 or it's 95 and they're lit and he just want to say money, hoes, and clothes because he want to get his ad-libs in? Or is he like, now we're gonna flip the Tume, we're gonna flip this part, and then I'm a head up in here and like, that's your book, but that's the question, it begs more questions.
Right. And here's maybe, and Joel, maybe this is, I think what Matt, what Relation just said, is maybe helping me figure out my hesitation towards the conscious piece, right? A lot of times when I think about music, especially rap music, especially Biggie, the way he literally rapped, the way he went into the studio process, it was all flow. It was flow, which often relies on unconscious or subconscious, right? So that's why I think the consciousness, and it's not to say that he's not conscious or he's not aware of his surroundings, of his story. It's not to say that he's not arriving at consciousness. I think for me, there's a power in leaning on the unconscious and the subconscious, especially for Biggie. Like the way that I think about his brilliance as a writer and as a rapper, like the man's didn't write nothing down. Like that is crazy. I'm a writer. I have to write it down and put it together, look at it when I'm rapping it, and I found my voice how to deliver it. This man didn't do that. He just flowed. It came to him and it flowed. So there's a way that he tapped into subconscious, and I think the brilliance of his mastery of that subconscious, maybe unconscious mastery, is that it resonates so much that we think it's consciousness. I think that is maybe the turn or the trajectory from the artist to the creator art to the consumer, right? Which is like, man was that brilliant that he was just flowing. and we sitting there thinking he was like deeply, and I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Joe. I'm just like, to me, that's what I think that's my hesitation towards identifying the consciousness of it. And it's not to say that he's not arriving at what is conscious for him. I think I lean towards flow.
Okay.
Man. That's also not to put flow and consciousness at odds. That's not to do that. But that's my hesitation.
And I feel like what it is your hesitation to say something about the intention allows you to really just like, I don't know, rely on the consumer aspect and look at the creative art and the creative art, which is the flow, which is the subconscious, that content. Like I'd agree as well, because obviously as a writer, and I think that word specifically, consciousness, is a tough one to then like throw around. And I think a lot about intentions now when I listen to music. I'm just like, what were they thinking when they wrote this? How did they, do like blah, blah, blah. And what did they want? How did they want me to feel, versus how I'm feeling right now? And like that type of stuff will definitely make me trip over myself. So I think it's just like it's tough when I wouldn't say we failed to, but when we're jumping from a lot of different lenses of this song, I guess, or different experiences with this song. We have theologians listening, to this song. We have artists, interpreting this song, and like people with a bunch of different backgrounds, yes, but different ways of already just thinking about music, you know?
Brilliant conversation. I guess from a shamanic spiritual standpoint, Biggie would be more conscious because he then possesses the ability to tell his story. If he doesn't know who he is, then he's not conscious and he can't tell his story. So it really just blends into what you're saying now, because now he develops that relationship of flow with the unconscious, which takes his conscious thoughts of understanding who he is in relation to the world he's in right now is not the same as when he was a child and poor. That takes consciousness. There's so many people out there that are unconscious, that their situation is something else than what the illusion they tell themselves. So for Biggie to sit here and break through his own illusion, and shamanism would be a shamanic journey of awakening, a new level of consciousness. I don't think it's like a stop point. It's just a benchmark, you know? And of course, I'm sure if we did like a whole entire series on Biggie's collection of songs, we could tell an even deeper, thorough story of how he comes into further consciousness. Because remember, this song came out when he was in the beginning. Like, he gets better. We all know that. And his consciousness and how he formulates and the collabs, and it's all not unconscious, but it's a relationship of conscious and unconscious, which makes him awakened and more whole than he was before.
I got a question. This is going to be a wrench because I know there's mad thoughts at the table. I'm sorry, but name a better Biggie song than Juicy. I'm sorry. This is my favorite Juicy. This is my favorite Biggie song, yo. I don't know. You said he gets better. I'm like, yes, and also I can't, and off the top of my head, I don't know that I can name it. But I'm sorry, I had to say that, but I know, go. And Joe, I know you.
I got to jump in after you go.
You said earlier, JP, about the materialism in the song, right? I think that the fact that he grew up without these material things, his consciousness allowed him to put them on display in this song. But once he had satisfied the materialism that he did not have, I think he was then able to focus on his storytelling ability even more. Because if you realize, consciously, I don't think he got better as time went on, but his storytelling lyricism got more intricate. Because the song that he told about the New York Knicks play, I forget the. Let me tell you, that song, even warning. To tell. Thank you. Even warning. Yo, there's a red dot on your head. Listen, who thinks of this? Yo, there's a red dot on your head too. Like, what?
Oh.
So, and I say this because I find that the people who influence us the most do not concern themselves with certain things, like driving, like what they eat, like what they wear. They're not into all that stuff anymore because consciously they have broken away from the materialism and they are able not to focus on what matters, which is this. And once he got to that plane of existence, when I tell you listen, they heard about the crib you bought your mom's out in Florida, the 5th corridor. Call the coroner. What are you telling me?
What might be better than Juicy? No.
It's not better than Juicy, but what I'm saying, the storytelling lyricism became so intricate that I felt like I was sneaking to his mom's crib.
Right.
He tells what to do. Yo, you sure this is his mom's crib? Yeah, shut the fuck up. I'm sure. I felt like I was there. Like I got goose pimples now. Like I'm in the crib in the dark trying to find something. And I think that's only because once he elevated his psyche, once he elevated and you heard that storytelling really, really get deeper and deeper, bruh. And I have yet to find another artist. Nothing against J. Cole, nothing against any of the new people out there, but they can't.
I agree.
They just don't do it for me.
All right. I got a personal story to tell. Getting, and it's about the moving to consciousness, right? But I think for myself, I'm on not only a spiritual journey, of growth, but like, I guess it's spiritual too, but like a healing journey from stuff I've been through. And I was speaking to my therapist, this is probably like a month or two ago. And the conscious, like the clarity that came from unconsciousness. Like my unconsciousness opened up. And it was about like pain and stuff like that. It was specifically, it was about how I deal with my own feelings. Like, I have been taught to hide my feelings. And I didn't know that until I was in a conversation with my therapist. And like just unconsciously, she mentioned something. And then like, I just started crying like from nowhere. Like it just hit me that for me to be able to live and survive the life that I had grown up in, I had to hide all my feelings, right? But that movement of consciousness came from an unconscious space that just kind of popped open. So I'm thinking, oh, maybe we're looking at binaries and it's not a binary.
Yeah. I mean, and what you're saying, the word clarity was illuminating to me as you just spoke in regards to this song, right? Like this song is very clear. It's very clear, right? It's so clear. It's like, it was this, now it's this, and it's all good. It's all good. He's saying it's all good, almost as just like it was always all good, right? Like it was never not all good. Now we just came up, right? Which feels very clear. Again, I think that's why it resonates so deeply with so many folks within the culture and without the culture, really, outside the culture, right? Like this is a huge song. So I think that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree about the unconscious having to like the unconscious catalyst, like having that need to be there. It's funny, I think now like it's gotten just much more like, I don't know, deeper or more literal, like within these words that like we've said over this conversation. But I feel like we spoke about like a switch or like the mode of flow in this song has been transition, or the theme has been more so wrapped in transition, and we kind of like are trying to define like where this, where that switch happens. And like Joel, you telling that story kind of just like makes that even more clear, and in a kind of like a unconscious way. Because I think back to how JP listens to music, right? And like breaking it down into those three. And I'd honestly say I probably listen to music in the same way. I've just never defined it or thought about it in that sense. But thinking about, okay, did Big really mean to do this? Like, were they in the studio saying, "Oh, we're gonna do this"? Like, and somebody they're gonna talk about this in classes, podcasts, in whatever. Did he think he was gonna? And we talk about, and I think we can generally we can't say no, but we can generally say that we don't know. And the one thing that we know of, at least as artists, in our own right, is that, and just people, like healing people coming, like transitioning out of things and whatnot, is that the process of unconscious can really be, that turning point. And I think that as JP spoke about flow, that being an unconscious thing, like, you could throw on a beat and I might not have the words for it, but I'll go, like, because I feel it. And I'm not even like, I'm not thinking about that, and I think about how we talk about Big's process, being that, this is early too. So he's not as intricate. He's not as, I know I gotta tell it like this, rather than use this noun. Let me say the brand, let me blah, 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 like for storytelling. He hasn't even thought about that in the storytelling sense. This is him just being unconscious, but tapping into, I guess, what he's seen, what he knows, and the life that he was, living then. I did not, I mean, that's just like the main point. I just didn't think that it would, that we would talk so much about the conscious, and the unconscious self. But I think the actions within those worlds are really, really poignant too, because, who knows, like, I doubt Big spent too much time writing this, he lived it at the time. So it was like, probably like second nature to him,
Thank you. Thank you. It's all good. It's all good, baby, baby. Thanks a lot, guys. I really appreciate y'all. I hope you hold it in your heart to join us again. I really had a lot of fun with you.